Hey friends, this is Pastor Joe from Southwest Lutheran Church in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and I'm here with a discipleship recap as we think about Pastor Somo's message from this past Sunday, October 22nd. He was talking about 1 Thessalonians chapter 1. And this is a chapter where the Apostle Paul is greeting the Christians in Thessalonica, is the city where they live. The Thessalonians, they were called. And he talks about how he came to them and how he shared the gospel, the good news of Jesus Christ, and how those Thessalonians then became Christians themselves, and they themselves became an example to believers in other places. And so Paul is saying how he's thankful for them, and not only that they responded to his work, and then they also shared the gospel and were examples to other believers and other non-Christians in different places. And it's this really cool picture of Paul ministering to them and them ministering to others. So Pastor Somo shared a wonderful story, the story of Adoniram Judson, the first missionary to Burma. And especially how Adoniram Judson had spent quite a bit of time in Burma and then eventually had this kind of missionary breakthrough. Didn't make any converts for a long time, but had this kind of missionary breakthrough when then he went to a slave market and he bought a man named Ko Tha Byu and freed him, shared the gospel, and this man became a Christian. And it's this man, Ko Tha Byu, who had a conversion from being this outcast, outlaw sort of figure to a Christian and a missionary. Very much like the Apostle Paul went from being a persecutor of the church to its greatest promoter in the early church. It was Ko Tha Byu who shared the gospel with so many of the Korean folks who eventually would produce, friends like Pastor Somo. So it's this really cool story. And through it all, what we saw and what Pastor Somo talked about was how we are all important within the church and within the mission of God. That God uses all of us. And the way that, the gospel works, the way the church works, the way the mission of God works is one person hears it. One person receives grace and forgiveness and salvation in Jesus Christ, and then that person shares with others. And through the entire existence of the church, God's work in the world has depended on ordinary people sharing what they have received, serving others, caring for others, loving their neighbors as themselves, loving the Lord their God with all their heart and soul and strength and mind. And in the simple, ordinary ways that we can do it, we get to do the mighty works of God as we share good news, as we serve, as we care. And this is how it works. So we're all important. That means for us as Christians, one of the really important things we do is we pay attention to the folks around us. We raise up people who are young in faith, whether they are literally young, right? They're children or young adults learning what it means to live as a Christian in this world, or whether they're young in faith, even though they may be chronologically older, right? So people who come to faith as adults. We pay attention to these folks. We help equip them. We help support them. We help care for them, even as we continue, of course, to care and support for all of the Christians around us. It's not like we ignore or let go of a chunk of the church just because we're engaged in mission and ministry to raise up younger, newer leaders, right? But it is so critical for us to care about the younger folks around us, those who are young in the faith, because we are all the church today. They are the church today, but only those younger folks are going to be the church of tomorrow, right? Or the church of someday when I'm not around. And so this is important for all of us to continue passing on the message, to continue sharing what we have been given, to continue raising up children in faith and faithfulness, to be there in church. And it's a wonderful work for all of us to do. So that's what we heard from the Apostle Paul in 1 Thessalonians, and the application, at least that I get, is Care about those around you. Raise up younger people in faith, or those who are young in faith. Raise them up not just to know Jesus, but to become leaders in the church, because they indeed are going to be the ones maintaining and leading the church tomorrow and someday, like I said, when I'm not around. So that's what I got. I would love to know your thoughts, what you heard from Jesus in that passage from 1 Thessalonians chapter 1, verses 1 to 10, or what you heard from Pastor Somo's message on Sunday. Throw those comments in the comments below. I'd love to have a conversation. So until next time, take care and God bless. Have a great day.